Hi, my name is Elizabeth Amini, and I am the founder and CEO of antiaginggames.com. This is a sample of our talk called the Top 10 Tips to Keep Your Brain Young. My scientific advisory board and I literally went through over 17,000 medical studies to create our games and the tips on our website, and we distilled what we found into the top 10 tips so that we could teach people how to keep their brains young. I'm going to show you a sample of this talk today in hopes that you will choose us for your upcoming conference. First thing I tell people is that I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just a starting point for a conversation with your physician. The first tip, and what I consider to be one of the very best tips out of all of the information we researched, is walking is one of the best ways to help your heart and your brain. Fast walking 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week is linked to 33% less risk of Alzheimer's. If you add in vigorous aerobic exercise 3 days a week, at least 20 minutes each time, where your heart rate is increased, that's linked to 50% less risk. If you can't walk comfortably, try water walking, bicycling, using a cross-country ski machine, or if you're in a wheelchair, use a hand wheel or other aerobic activity recommended by your doctor. Tip number 2 is playing mentally engaging games stimulates your brain. Your brain loves novelty and variety. The best type of entertainment is both mind-engaging and interactive. An example of passive entertainment is watching TV. An example of interactive entertainment is playing brain games, learning how to play chess, bridge, learning a new instrument, language, or complicated dance. What's amazing is that you don't actually even have to be good at it. As long as it's new, mind-engaging, and interactive, it's great for your brain. If it involves physical activity or social activity, even better. Tip number 3 is to avoid poisons. Smoking and lead are the two that everyone's heard of. What I didn't know when we started doing this research is that even the occasional social cigarette or cigar makes your capillaries act like they're poisoned because they are in fact being poisoned. So if you smoke right now, consider quitting, and if you don't smoke, don't start smoking later. Everyone knows to avoid lead. You also need to avoid toxic cleaners and toxic substances. There's a free website called cosmeticsdatabase.com. You can put in anything you use, from shampoos, soaps, sunscreens, makeup, cleaning agents, anything that you use on a regular basis. You can put it into this website, and out pops a rating from 1 to 10, where 10 is the most toxic and 1 is the safest. And you can see for yourself how toxic the substances you use on a regular basis are. What's amazing to me is that it doesn't matter if it says natural or made for kids or if it's very expensive. Some of the products that you think are the safest will end up being surprisingly toxic. This website will help you find what's toxic in your life and switch to safer brands. In the interest of time, we will be skipping ahead to tip number 9. Tip number 9 is have a purpose. This is actually very new research coming out of Rush University's Medical Center. Researchers found that the people who had the highest level of purpose and life direction were 2.4 times less likely to get Alzheimer's than people who had the least sense of purpose and life direction. Now, what this means for you is to pick a dream, purpose, or cause that's bigger than yourself. Try to help someone outside of your circle of family, friends, and acquaintances. There's so much to be done. If you think about it, the baby boomers and the generation above them are the ones that kick down the doors of sexism and racism in our society. And there's so much left to do. You can pick any purpose and any cause. Doesn't really matter what it is as long as it's personally meaningful to you. And devote a little bit of time and energy every month to your cause. It's good for you and it's good for society. Tip number 10. Positive outlook matters. Now, if you had told me that positive outlook matters, as a scientist, I would say of course it does, but I had never expected how much it matters. There's a study called the Nun Study, where 678 nuns were tracked over the course of their lives. Many had even donated their bodies to research so that researchers were able to perform autopsies and examine the brain of these nuns and compare them to how they lived so we could see what could potentially cause Alzheimer's. What the study found was nothing short of amazing. The nuns that had described their lives with the highest number of positive emotion words, so the ones that had the highest level of positive outlook, not only lived longer lives, but also healthier lives. They got less Alzheimer's, and in a few cases what was amazing to me was when they opened up the brains of these nuns who tended to have a more positive outlook, they found that inside the brains there were actually plaques and tangles from Alzheimer's, but these people weren't showing symptoms. So there's this unbelievable neuroprotective effect that positive outlook has that researchers don't really understand, and a lot more research is going to be needed before they will understand it. But what this means for you is that it's important to know that positive outlook does in fact matter. There's ways to practice optimism, gratitude, and contentment. During the talk that we give, we teach people how to eliminate negative self-talk, how to choose healthier coping skills, and we even teach them daily steps to increase their gratitude and happiness. We hope that you will choose our top 10 tips to keep your brain young presentation to be featured in your upcoming conference, because we're confident that it contains valuable information distilled from 17,000 medical studies for your audience, tips that will not only excite them, but also have the capacity to change their lives for the better. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration.